back with retired FBI agent and profiler Gregg McCrary here talking about Kyle's case. You spent the bulk of your 25 years in the FBI as a profiler. So the number one question that I've asked myself and I've asked others throughout the course of investigating this story is what kind of person drives away from a hit-and-run accident?
Yeah. I think two things to keep in mind. This is different than, say, an intentional criminal event. In other words, a lot of times we deal with career criminals who are very cold and psychopathic and lack guilt and empathy and remorse and those things. But chances are good that this is not that kind of an individual who was involved in this. It wasn't an intentional criminal act. So the chances are we're talking about someone who in the immediate aftermath of this may have been racked with some guilt or fear of being detected. Chances are their normal daily routine would have been disrupted. They might have missed work or showed up at work and been preoccupied and nervous about this. And their social relations could have been disrupted. I mean, their whole life would be really subsumed by this in the immediate aftermath.
Those are the cues that people around this individual want to look back on and say, something was funny around that time, and that could break the case.
That could be one of those leads, yeah. You could develop a suspect that way. And especially if we begin putting this together, someone who may have been a driving truck, who may be out there doing something that evening, may have mentioned something about needing to get a trailer looked at, or a car they were hauling accidentally slipped in the trailer and got damaged. Anything like that that begins to piece it together. So there are people out there who may have suspicions or actual knowledge.
Greg, what is the likelihood that this person, the suspect, if they were driving and traveling alone, that they did tell somebody about this afterwards? I mean, you've dealt over your career with a number of criminals. People talk.
Yes.
So is the likelihood that this person shared a little bit of knowledge with somebody else?
It's certainly likely that he said something. It wasn't an ordinary night for him. He may not have understood the entirety of what occurred, giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I say he, it's probably a male, but we don't want to rule that out totally either. May have realized they had an accident, certainly did. They stopped along the side of the road, check it out, and may have said something to somebody about an unusual event or something happened, or made up some story as to how they get the rig looked at, or they had a problem with a car that they were towing and they got, any story like that they may have come up with in some even limited detail. And that's what people want to start thinking about and putting themselves back in that time at that time frame.
Valuable and insightful information from the man here, retired FBI agent and profiler Gregg McCrary. Appreciate you coming on to talk to us about it. We hope that just that one small fact, that one small detail will be enough to jog somebody's memory.
You're welcome.